We're going to start by making a slip knot. And we'll attach it right above the anchor peg. On this hat, we're going to do the ewrap cast on. And to do that, you go around on each peg and make a tiny little letter E. If you have a different cast on that you like, you can also do that. Okay, we're finishing up the first part of our cast on. So a good thing to do is to push that first row down, because we need room for the second part of the cast on. So we're going to join that peg with the yarn and start on our second row of stitches. And again, we're going to go all the way around. We're finishing up the second part of our ewrap. And now we're going to take our yarn tool and take the bottom over the top. Continue doing this, taking the bottom over the top until you end up where you started by the anchor peg. And then we will be ready to start the next part of our hat. Again, this is a basic ewrap cast on. It's the easiest. At times, some people say it's a little loose. You can make it a little tighter if you want, but you don't have to. Now we're starting our next set of stitches. This is called the U-stitch. So we're going to knit one, and then we're going to purl one. Purling is taking the working yarn below your stitch here, attach it, pull it up through, then you'll want to remove it from the peg and add the loop onto the peg. And then you pull your working yarn. That's the purl stitch. And then back to the U. This is a bigger loom. It is 41 pegs. So I'm trying to find the best angle for you to see exactly how I'm doing the stitching. We're going to do this for 10 rows. So go ahead and press pause and do this knit, purl, for 10 rows, and then I will meet you back. We have our 10 rows of knit, purl, knit, purl. Now we're going to start on another ewrap. This isn't a cast on, this is just an ewrap stitch. So again, we're going to wrap each individual peg as a little E from the start of the anchor peg all the way around to where you started from. So anchor peg to anchor peg, little E's, we're making the ewrap stitch. Okay, our first row of ewrap is done. So again, we're going to take our hook and take the bottom over the top for each peg. We're actually going to do 4 rows of the ewrap. So do this 4 times. Okay, we're done with our ewrap. Now we're going to start again with a knit one, purl one. Starting again at the anchor peg. we're going to do 4 rows of this. So 4 rows of knit 1, purl 1. After our 4 rows of this, we're going to start again and do another 4 of ewrap. So I'm going to speed this up a little. Hopefully you understand the ewrap. So we can move on to the next part. For the last 12 rows of our hat, we're going to do the flat knit or the ewrap, the U-stitch. You can do it both ways. You can do it like this, where I'm doing a U-stitch. It's not as tight as if you just lay it in front of the peg. Whatever works for you. Some people find laying the working yarn on top of the peg a little bit more difficult because the stitch is a little tighter. I'm going to show you like such. If you lay it on top, it does make the stitch a little tighter. You can cut some time off too if you do a few pegs at a time. But again, we're going to do 12 rows of this. So make sure everything's pulled down. And you'll want to do this stitch 12 times around. So 12 rows. I am going a little bit slow just so I can show you exactly what I'm doing. We're starting to now do our drawstring bind off. So for that, we'll want to take a tapestry needle and go through each stitch on the loom one at a time. Sometimes it gets a little tangled, and just go in from, as I show you right here, from the bottom and pull through. Sometimes the yarn comes out of the needle, but it's no big deal. Just reattach the yarn and go all the way around. And this again is the drawstring bind off. We're making the top portion of our hat now where our ponytail or bun is going to come out from. I'm going to fast forward a little. Again, we're just going through each peg. And when we start to remove the stitch off of the peg, it's okay if you want to use your yarn hook. Sometimes it can be a little tight, so I go ahead and use my yarn hook to help me get it off the peg. So we're coming down to the end. I have 2 more stitches. And then we'll make our little hole at the top. It actually kind of looks like a headband. when you take it off the loom until you tighten up the hole. So we're going to pull on our needle, pull on our yarn gently, because we need to get a grasp on where exactly the circle is going to be on top. So you don't want to pull it too hard because you'll mess up your yarn. And what I do is just pull the yarn over so it's not curling, and decide exactly how big I want the hole on top. And then we're going to take the working yarn and incorporate it into the hole on top. I'm going to cut it a little to make it shorter. Make sure your darning needle has a hole big enough to get through your yarn. And we're just going to sew this in. It's going to be about 1 to 2 inches across. And that concludes the Messy Bun Hat, ponytail hat. I will have another video coming up with different kind of stitching. So if you want to check that out, that'll be coming out in the next day or so. And I appreciate you watching. And if you like this video, please click the like button. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. And I will see you on the next video.